Hello YouTube. So today I want to explain why lifting is basically the safest form of exercise you can do, or nearly the safest. And why is that? If you look at other sports like rugby, for every 1,000 hours played of rugby, there's like 45 injuries. For every 1,000 hours played of soccer, there's like 30. For football, I'm sure it's a gigantic number. For like basketball, tennis, might be in like the 10 to 20 range, somewhere around there per 1,000 hours. And lifting is like 2. That is significantly less. Like, to put in perspective, you are almost 20 times more likely to get injured playing soccer for every hour that you play it than you are from lifting weights. Why is that? Why is there such a drastic difference? Why is lifting so safe? I think the answer is actually incredibly straightforward. So when you play soccer or basketball or hockey or football, one, you could get hit. You get hit. When you get hit, these are forces that are well beyond your body's control. You might get hit in shoulder, and your shoulder might, rotate back in a position that it's not handled under this tremendous amount of force that it's just never had applied to it. Or when you're running or sprinting and cutting, the forces of starting and stopping and the torque that goes on your knee and the tendons and ligaments surrounding it can all be incredibly high. But when you lift weights, you are in this like highly perfected, simulated environment where you are never really ever exposed to forces that are beyond your control. The fundamental thing about lifting is almost everything is entirely in your control. And then when it's not in your control, you take a set to failure, it is literally like just beyond your control. So it's incredibly rare to experience these forces that put your tendons, ligaments, bones in any serious dangerous position. So the real takeaway I want from this is you can figure out where you may have gaps in your training that put you in these good circumstances and some that might not be the best circumstances. So to me, the whole thing is about you're in control the whole time. So like, for example, if you're doing a chin up, you don't want to like drop yourself down. You want to have that control. When you do the negative on any exercise, like a bicep curl, you don't want to just like let your arm flop. Or when you're benching, you don't want it to just fall on your chest, because that again is mimicking this external forces outside of your control aspect that create the higher injuries for rugby, for soccer. Whenever you lose control of a lift, and you probably won't even get injured, but you are increasing your risk for injury if you don't feel like you have control over the movements. So the very practical takeaway is this. When you are lifting and exercising, do you feel like you're always in control? Are there moments where you feel like you are losing control? Like if you're benching, do you feel like when you get to the bottom, it just like falls on you? That would be a good indication that maybe you don't have the control that you should, and that you should, this is one of the times that I recommend this, is lower the weight just a little bit until you regain control in that particular range. When you squat, do you just sit and fall down? When you do chin-ups, do you let yourself just, after you do a rep, just fall back down to the ground? So look in your training and make sure that you are exhibiting control throughout every movement if you really want to minimize these injuries. And the takeaway is just, lifting is very safe. You should not be worrying about getting strains or getting hurt or any of that stuff the overwhelming majority of the time. Little things pop up. It's possible to get a strain and overexert yourself, or you're just tired and you do lose control for a brief moment. But the overwhelming majority of those injuries are just minor strains that heal in a week or two, or sometimes less. Sometimes it's just a day or two. Obviously accounting for, like, don't do dumb shit. Like, don't bench without pins or a spotter. Don't squat without pins or a spotter, but in your training, look and notice, see if there are those moments. Record yourself when you're doing lifts and see if there's any loss of control, and then get it back.